Welcome into Texans Today, another free agent signing by Nick Caserio. We'll break it all down here on the show. Another offensive lineman joining your Houston Texans as the Texans are signing offensive tackle Trent Brown in NFL free agency. I know a lot of people probably know him from his New England Patriot days, but last year played for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll break down everything you need to know about Trent Brown and what this signing signifies for your Houston Texans. But before we get into all that, join the #1 Texans channel here on YouTube, here at Texans Today, and hit that subscribe button. If you love daily videos around your Houston Texans, the latest updates around this team, everything you need to know from free agency to the draft, offseason, regular season, everything in between, we break it down here on the channel. And I want to show some love to all the loyal people out there. We are more than 28,000 strong here at Texans Today. So if you're one of those 28,000 watching today's video, drop those H's down in the comments section so I can show you some love. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and let's get into the news. Adam Schefter broke it first. More offensive linemen help in Houston. Free agent offensive tackle Trent Brown reached an agreement today on a one-year deal worth up to $3 million. Keyword, worth up to, not it's a $3 million deal. I'm pretty sure it's with incentive lace. He can make up to $3 million with the Houston Texans per his agent, Drew Rosenhaus. And the Texans signing another big offensive lineman, 6'8", 355 pounds. Only played in 3 games last year because he ruptured a patella tendon in his right knee in week 3 while playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. And I have him slotted in right now under Cam Robinson as our backup left tackle. But I truly do believe he could be a, classic swing tackle, play left and right. He's played left and right tackle throughout his time in the NFL. Hasn't played any other position, so not sure yet if they plan on maybe moving him into guard. I know he's a bigger guy, a big mauler. Maybe they try that, but I do think the amount that they're signing him for, up to $3 million, signifies a backup role for Trent Brown and more than likely that swing tackle role as the Texans just continue to build this offensive line. We broke it down yesterday, the signing of Cam Robinson on a deal worth up to $14 million, a one-year deal for him as well. And they're trying to totally revamp this offensive line. And maybe it's not my favorite thing that the Texans have done so far with these two signings, but at the end of the day, they are both one-year deals, which signifies there's a lot of moving pieces still being made by this Texans team. And these kind of just seem like stopgap players for this Houston Texans team. But I will say this. Nick Caserio, it is very obvious that connections are extremely important for Nick Caserio, whether that's with DeMeco Ryans and guys that he's worked with in the past with the San Francisco 49ers, or guys that he's worked with in the past with the New England Patriots. Just a couple of names so far. Nick Caley, who he's worked with the New England Patriots. Cole Popovich worked with him with the New England Patriots. That's your OC and O-line coach. Jerry Shaplinski, who is the senior offensive assistant for your Houston Texans. He worked with them in New England. Jakob Johnson, fullback, was with the New England Patriots. And now Trent Brown, offensive lineman, was also with the New England Patriots. I'm not saying it is the only prerequisite to be a Houston Texan because obviously they've signed plenty of guys from other teams. But I do feel like Nick Caserio has some level of comfort with signing / working with guys that he's done in the past. Connections are very important. I think, maybe good, maybe bad that Nick Caserio and this Texans front office, this Texans coaching staff feels that way, that, hey, we know what this guy is. We know about this guy already. Why not try to bring him in and kind of, bring the band back together, as the kids like to say. But I want to know from you, do you like the moves the Texans have made in free agency? I know the jury's still out with a ton of these moves. I mean, even the Laremy Tunsil trade, I feel like Texans fans are pretty split up on that move. But let me know down in the comment section, so far, do you like what the Texans have done? Give me a yes, give me a no down in the comment section. I personally do. I think, there are, some less flashy moves, right? Signing Cam Robinson, signing Trent Brown. But I think this is all kind of leading up to the NFL draft and what the Texans plan on doing for the NFL draft to address the offensive line and address some of the other holes that they have. I do like the fact that they are locking up their guys. I love the fact that they went out and extended Danielle Hunter. They went out and extended Derek Stingley. I'm pretty sure this next offseason, we're going to see that big money to CJ Stroud and Will Anderson Jr., keeping that core of this team that really showed out last season, where I know a lot of us think of it as a down year for the Houston Texans, but we still made it to the divisional round, and we're pretty close to beating the eventual AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs. So this Texans team is just a few steps away. I don't care what everybody else is having to say. This team is still a contender, and they're making moves to try to build for now and towards the future. With the free agency moves they've made so far, now, re-signing Agumbawale as a special teams guy, Christian Kirk, who I love them bringing him in as a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. I think that was a very smart move. I mean, you're telling me 2 7th-round picks the Texans have turned into Joe Mixon and Christian Kirk? Pretty smart if you ask me. They re-signed a ton of guys like Derek Barnett on the edge. He was a big move that I love the fact that they brought him back. Still 28 years old, got 2 defensive touchdowns last year, adding to the edge group as well with Darrell Taylor. And, the moves continue to happen on as maybe the best move of the offseason, trading Kenyon Green away for C.J. Gardner-Johnson to solidify this Texans secondary. I absolutely love moves like that and getting veteran guys, like I said earlier, the relationships. Laken Tomlinson, a former San Francisco 49er, they're bringing him on a 1-year deal. Re-signing guys like Mario Edwards Jr. to keep this unit together along the defensive line. And then, he's gone out there and made some risks, right? Trading for Ed Ingram, but it's a calculated risk. You're trading a 2026 6th-round pick for a young guard who hasn't played well, but maybe in a different scheme, maybe with the Houston Texans, can turn it around. And like I said, the latest moves the Texans have done, extending Derek Stingley, signing Jakob Johnson, a sneaky good move, signing Ronald Darby, 1 year, $2.5 million to add some depth into the secondary, and then the latest moves of signing Cam Robinson and signing Trent Brown. These moves, like I said, not flashy whatsoever, these past 2 moves of Cam Robinson, Trent Brown. Probably a lot of people are going to be skeptical about these moves, but it is a stopgap option. And I really do believe Nick Caserio is setting himself up to make some major moves in the NFL draft to fill some holes on this Texans roster and possibly set it up for the future, because you have guys like Cam Robinson who, yes, last year did not play well towards the end of the year once he was traded to the Minnesota Vikings, but he's a good player. He's a middle-of-the-road left tackle. I mean, the Jags franchise tagged him twice because they didn't want to get rid of him. That's how good he was, that Jacksonville wanted to keep him around 2 straight years, signing him to the franchise tag. So I still believe the Texans have a lot more moves to be made, and the NFL draft is about to get that much more exciting for your Houston Texans. And speaking of the draft, tomorrow, I'm going to be breaking down how this move affects the Texans draft plans, because I have talked to some people, close to the organization. I've also tried to connect some dots. When there's smoke, there's fire, as Mitchell Renz likes to say over at our Raiders Report. There's some things happening that you need to know around the Houston Texans and what they're looking at in the NFL draft, because if this move told me anything, connections mean everything to this Texans team and this Texans front office, and there are some strong connections in the NFL draft. Make sure you hit that sub button. Make sure you turn on your notifications, because my video dropping tomorrow, I'm going to tell you exactly what those connections are.